Hi, my name is Eric Burnskill, and in this video, I'd like to show you how you can build a simple image slider inside of Adobe Edge. Adobe Edge is, as you might know, the new tool for building interactive HTML animations from Adobe in a graphical user interface application. So this is Edge. Now, an image slider might not be the best thing to build in Edge because you may like to change images, and it's simpler embedding a standard jQuery slider for this. But if you prefer, or if you like to build other animations in Edge, that is basically where Edge shines. But I thought building an image slider sort of gets us started in how Edge functions, how you do transitions, how you do basic transitions, and how it works. So I have created a new document. By default, that's an HTML document. I've set the stage to be 960 by 250 pixels because I've been preparing a little bit, so I have some images going into here. I'm going to name the project image slider here. And it's time to get started. Since I only have my stage element here over in the Elements panel, I'm going to go ahead and go to File, come down to Import, and I'm going to select a few of my assets that I have here. In this case, it's going to be image 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to make sure they appear in the right order here. And I'm going to start by animating them. So I'm going to hide image 2 and image 3. And I'm going to start with image 1. By default in the timeline, this red icon it's red, it's enabled. This is the auto keyframe. And what auto keyframe does is, as soon as you modify any parameter, it is going to make a keyframe. So if I move this, it's going to make a keyframe for the X. If I move it up, it's going to make another keyframe for the Y. So if you want to move it but not have keyframes, you must turn that off. And that goes for any attribute in Edge. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the very first bit here in the timeline. And since I want this image to display when we start, all I'm going to do is I'm going to go to it. And I'm going to just drop the opacity a bit and then bring it back up. So that I have on my image 1, I have opacity set to 100 from the start. Then I'm going to go 3 seconds in. And I'm going to click on my image 2. And in fact, I want to be at 0 first. And I want to, at 0 seconds, I want to go to image 2, set opacity to 0, and then go to image 3 and set opacity to 0. So I have my 3 images loaded here. And then I can go to my 3-second mark, select image 2 in the timeline or on the stage or in the elements. And if I go ahead and just turn it up to 100% opacity, it's going to create a transition from the start here, from 0 to 100. That is not what I want. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to go ahead and at the 3-second mark, I'm going to create a new keyframe. And of course, I'm going to turn on the layer visibility of layer 2, otherwise I don't see it. And what I'm going to do is go to the 4-second mark, and here I'm going to increase the opacity so we get a nice transition between second 3 and 4. Then I'm going to go 3 seconds ahead, which is the 7th second, and I'm going to select image 3. I'm going to turn on the visibility, and selecting image 3, I'm going to go ahead and again create a new keyframe at 7th second and go to the 8th second. And here I'm going to increase the opacity and drag it up to 100. So now I have 3 transitions, right? I have 2 transitions. That's how I have from image 1 to image 2, and I have from 2 to 3. So let's say we want to loop this. We want this to play continuously. What we need to do is basically get it back to the first image because we started with just displaying the first image. So we want to have and finish off by transitioning to the final image. So what we can do, of course, is we want this, of course, to be available for 3 seconds. So I'm going to go 8, 9, 10 to the 11th second. And we're going to insert a keyframe here. And we'll want this to be transitioning to the 12th second. So here I'm just going to drop the opacity, just making the reverse here. But as you notice, we go into the second image, and this is not what we want. We don't want to go reverse. We just want to get back to the first second. So our animation is actually 12 seconds long and then loops again. So just make sure from the point where this tree has faded out and become this bridge, so anywhere from the 8th to the 11th second, we can have a transition. For example, insert a keyframe on 2 and have it between however long we want, and just drop that down to 0. So this can just be transitioning in the background, which is going to just hide that tree so that when we do our final transition, it's going back to the sun roses. So let me hit Command Enter to preview this in our browser, Safari in my case, and you see it looks to be working. We have the first transition, and then for 3 seconds we have the second transition, and 3 more seconds we go back to this. But the problem we have right now is that we don't have any looping. So I'm going to close out of this, and we're going to add an action. And this is how you do it in Preview 3. So if you have an earlier version, you just want to go ahead and grab and download Preview 3 of Adobe Edge. So I'm going to position this playhead at the 12th second. And you're going to look above the image 3, where it's going to say Actions, and it has a keyframe. This is basically a trigger. This allows us to, at this second in our timeline, do any number of scripting. So I'm going to click this to add my trigger, and I get the trigger box. And in fact, we don't need to know any code here. All I'm going to do is click the button, the helper button, go to and play. And I'm going to set it to playback from the 0th second. So basically from the start again. So that's it. I can close this now safely. And now when I preview this in my browser, it's going to roll through. That's the first, that's the second. And then we get the third image. And we're going to get down to the first, and it's looping. And it continues. So this is going to continue in basically eternity right now. So that is how you build a simple image slider inside of Adobe Edge, bringing HTML animations really made simple. So thank you very much for watching this tutorial. Do download Edge and play around with it. It's really fun and really easy. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.